to the grid. You're just thinking about winning a race.
It's going to be two Mercedes going wheel to wheel into turn one.
Brilliant wheel-to-wheel action, definitely game on.
Your finest moment in the race.
What a great race we've got in progress.
Welcome to Sepang. 6 races to go and the momentum is all with Nico Rosberg.
3 on the spin since the summer break for the German, including last time out in Singapore, and he'll be looking to back up that victory just down the road here in Malaysia.
Nico Rosberg in his 200th Grand Prix start will start on pole position. And it's lights out and away we go. It's a very good start for Nico Rosberg. And for Kimi Räikkönen, there's Nico Hulkenberg into the wall. He's got tagged and Hulkenberg out of the race. Räikkönen down the inside on Hamilton. Hamilton tries to defend. Daniel Ricciardo now comes in.
This has put pressure on Rosberg. They've got nothing to lose.
Push hard now, Nico.
Another couple of laps that he'd have been there. The fireworks light up the sky for Nico Rosberg as he wins in Singapore.
It was a fantastic victory, just a fortnight ago up the road, 172 miles away in Singapore. And Johnny, I know you're watching that from home. Great to have you back with us. We were asking the question then of Damon and Martin and Paul, whether he believes with 6 races to go that he can actually take the fight and beat, in a fair fight, beat Lewis Hamilton. Where do you stand on that right now? Do you think 8 points ahead? He was 22 points ahead in 2014. He can convert that?
I think he can convert it. I think it's going to be tough. You know, Lewis is never going to give up. That's always sort of been in his DNA. But I think he seems to have a sort of slightly demeanour about him, a more positive demeanour than we've seen before. Now, if that will take him and get those starts, which is going to be critical for both of them, it's something that's going to give him sort of that advantage as these sort of races whittle down. He looks strong to me, but we always know Lewis is going to bounce back.
Well, this is it. Does he just need to get his head together and concentrate on racing, or...?
Well, he's just going to stay consistent. He's got to do the job that he's been doing, which has been just very, very sort of consistent. You talk about Nico, yes?
No, Lewis.
Oh,
sorry,
Lewis. No, Lewis has just got to get those starts sorted out at the end of the day. And I think if he can get that done, we know his speed. I still class him as the fastest driver on the track. But it's not just about being fast. It's everything else that goes with it. Can he do it? Yes, he can. But I think this is going to be the tougher year between Nico than he's ever had before.
Okay, let's get a window into their minds, because earlier this week at a sponsors event, Rachel caught up with both the Mercedes drivers.
Is this your toughest year yet, do you think, battling for the title, in terms of reliability, in terms of competition, in terms of what you've gone through?
I mean, I've been racing 23 years, so it's difficult to say which one's been the toughest. But this has been in terms of fighting for a world championship with a car that's good enough to do so. It's definitely been one of the most unusual ones, particularly with things that have gone on. But you know, it is what it is, and can't let the negativity of all the things that have happened draw my attention away from the goal, and that's to win the world championship.
The talk of the paddock is that actually this year could be your year. Are you aware of that at all?
No, because I don't read the press, and to be honest, it's not really. I mean, with all due respect, yeah, that's not something that's of great importance to me. For me, important is to be in the moment and focus on what's at hand, which is now the Sepang race, which I want to win, and that's what I've been doing now in the last couple of races, and it's been working well for me, you know, to just be in the moment. So why should I change that? Just continue doing that and see how it goes, and not thinking about something that's 2 months down the road, which could be or not be or whatever. You know, that wouldn't be really helpful for me.
Johnny, I wanted to pick up on that because he won't talk himself up, he won't talk his chances up, and yes, maybe that is to be expected, but he never really has that buzz about his driving or his wins or anything that you want to see. Is that just his nature? Is that just...
It seems to be his nature. It seems to be a consistent thing we've seen over the last couple of years. But it's only what I saw in Monza, and especially what I saw in Singapore. It was what happened after the race, on the podium, the way he reacted. That was reacting to himself feeling, I've done a good job. Because when you ask him a question like that, sadly, it's always the same. I'm only going to think about the moment at that race weekend. I'm going to forget what's happened before, and I'm going to move forward. But he doesn't even look further forward to the next race, being had a positive one. But I think those podiums are a bit of a key to where his mind's at.
So long as they're not outscored by 8 points, Mercedes can clinch the Constructors this weekend. If they score 38 points, which would be a first and a second, or a first and a third, so both on the podium and one winning the race, then that would do it for them, and they'd love to do that here at Petronas, well, the home of Petronas, one of their major sponsors. Now, one of the big stories of the day was in the middle of the night, and if you weren't able to be up with us for it, Kevin Magnussen, this was him coming back into the pits, and there was a fuel leak. I understand it was a breather that got blocked. He was out safe and sound, which was good to know, but that went on for a while, John.
It did, yeah. Well, again, I think the tank was obviously being pressured from somewhere else. You've got the fuel pump, and of course the fuel pump is dragging the fuel out to throw it into the engine. But obviously the breather was allowing the fuel out, but obviously the pressure was just building up, and you can't stop it because there was no way of shutting everything down. And I think eventually, once they stuck on the fuel to try and drain it, that was the only time it started to go down. But it took, what, 20 minutes? Long time.
Okay, right. Here's the occasion of the 300th Grand Prix for Jenson Button. So McLaren just down there have turned their hospitality unit into a pub by the name of the Dog and Button. And so right down there, we've sent a man who is no stranger to a pork scratching. David Croft is on site for us.
I'm ahead of you. Do you want some pork scratchings or not, lasers? I will bring you some later. We've got all the pub grub you could wish here. Because it's Jenson Button's 300th race, we have some marvellous moments of sporting memorabilia as well. And in a few minutes' time, the regulars are going to come down to share a bottle of, well, 300 or Old Brawny or Somerset Scrumper. We've got the lot down here, pub games as well. And because it's Formula One, you need arrows, right? Jenson might not have driven for them, but we do have a dartboard. So I'm going to try and see if I can get a driver to come along, have a game of darts, see if I can beat them, see if they're up for the challenge. Jenson's up for the challenge. He spoke to Ted yesterday.
Is it nice that F1 has these people who count numbers and races, so they tell you whatever these races are, so you don't have to think about it?
Yeah, I love the way that we celebrate a race. We celebrate 300 Grand Prix, and I haven't started 300 Grand Prix. Shouldn't we be celebrating in Japan?
Yeah, I don't even know whether it's something worth celebrating, is it?
Well, I'm pretty happy that I've been wanted for 300 races.
I guess that's the thing, isn't it? You've stayed relevant.
Yeah, I've experienced more than most drivers have in Formula One, and probably ever will. You know, going through 3 different sort of eras of the sport, and it's pretty special, yeah. So I think it is important to think about the number of races that you've competed in, the experiences you've been through, and you know, it's nice to have it here as well. This is where my first podium. So in 2004, very special race to me. And also I won here in 2009 in that soaking wet race that was red flags. And they only gave me half the points.
The Rotters, you were embracing a wet Ross Brawn on the grid afterwards. I remember it well.
Johnny, quick question for you then. How's Jenson going to be remembered?
I think very fondly. You know, he's a brilliant chap to talk to. You know, you see him on the racetrack. He's got a beautiful racecraft. You know, you go back to Canada and it was backwards and forwards, front to back. Ended up winning it on the last lap with Sebastian. He's a world champion at the same time. And I think everybody knows that he's a tough cookie when he's on the track as well. And I think that's the essence of what a Formula One driver is all about.
And it's not over.
He's not retiring. We will see. Yeah, it's not over. Could be back in 2018 in the car, remember? Yeah. Right, now, we're going to look at today's action in just a moment. But first, we're going to have some facts about this circuit here.
So we're back at Sepang then. It's a different time of year to when we normally come, Paul, and it's a different kind of track. They've resurfaced it.
Yeah, nice, flat, shiny new surface, nice and black, but ultimately a bit smoother, so cars going a bit quicker than normal as well.
You've been out on the circuit to take a little look. Turn 15, dramatically different to this time last year.
Yeah, very different. We can see the screenshot from last year. You can just see the track a little bit grayer, so it's not getting quite as hot as it is this year. But more importantly, it's the profile of this corner that's changed. They've lifted the inner edge, the apex of the corner, up 1 metre, so it's off camber now, much more difficult. Cars dancing around a bit more and people taking a much wider line just to make the Formula 1 car get all 4 wheels and get the contact, because that's what it's all about.
And we saw lots and lots of different lines today going into that last turn. We could have a few overtakes. There could be something different. Who knows what the race might serve up on Sunday, and it could be a very close race as well if practice sessions today are anything to go by. Happy birthday to Max Verstappen, by the way, 19 years of age, and he's already a Grand Prix winner. But it's all about the Mercedes guys, or is it this weekend, for pole and for the win?
Yeah, it's a massive race for them. Petronas, it's obviously their second home Grand Prix. Mercedes want to do what they can to get that constructors.
Well, it's hot here, as Kevin Magnussen found out. A fuel leak in his car, pressure building up in the Renault. Luckily, his guys were on hand to help put the fire out, but that was a nasty moment.
That's what it's about. That's why drivers have to get out of their car as quick as possible, under 5 seconds.
Carlos Sainz getting off the track a little quicker than he wanted to there. We see that sort of instance a lot. And into turn 9, Hamilton locking up, we see that too.
We saw that in Singapore, you know, that was the talk of his weekend, just not confident enough on the brakes. Rosberg equally having issues a bit further up the road. Yeah,
grip was a premium for a lot of drivers out there today, but Rosberg at least was the fastest man in the morning session, so advantage him. Still really hot in the afternoon, and yeah, something smells a bit nasty for Nico Rosberg there, doesn't it? 58 degrees we got up to. Kevin Magnussen actually got into his car and did a few laps as well, managed to get back out on the track, so a good rebuild job done there. But here, the Renault showing it still has massive handling problems.
Yeah, just first lap, breaking into the final corner of Pang, one of those things that always shows up, and later on in the session, getting in Jensen's way, you'll see Jensen's hands gesture, giving them a clear indication of what he thinks.
Yes, please, get out of the way. Clouds, go away. We don't want to see too many clouds. They were hovering over the circuit. We didn't get rain. We had Hamilton, though, fastest on the soft tyres.
Yeah, he was looking very good. On the hard tyre, looking over a long run, but on the short run, getting it nailed. Purple in all sectors, faster than anybody.
But it could be really, really close in terms of race pace between the two Red Bulls, between Ferrari and Nico Rosberg. Vettel was, what, a 10th off over a 9-lap run on the softs, and the two Mercedes drivers, very, very similar times as well when they went through their race simulations. So an awful lot to look forward to for Sunday's race, but how did the drivers think their day went today? Let's start with the fastest man on the track, Lewis Hamilton.
I think we got to lap 17 or something on those hard tyres, and you were still putting in some fairly decent times. Was that a surprise to you today around here?
Well, normally here degradation's a real killer, but for some reason, I guess with this new tarmac, it's not really that abrasive on the tyres, and they seem to be lasting. So I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing for racing, but it's, in terms of us, we're in a good position in terms of our long pace.
Well, the last corner is unbelievable. Just putting a bit of banking in it, you know, but it transformed the whole thing, and it's really difficult now. And it was a challenge also to find the right line. And eventually, the best one was like middle of the track, which is very unusual. Normally, you always go for the inside, but the middle of the track had the most grip.
We tried to be competitive. I think our pace didn't look too bad, at least from what I was told inside the car. So if that's the name of the game, that the hot conditions suit us, the fact that it's always warm here, then might be a good thing.
We did expect Ferrari to be quite quick here. Obviously, last year they had some good success, and we're probably, well, at least me personally, a bit too far off the pace where I want to be. So I think we can get closer. I think they'll still be probably with their nose in front come probably qualifying, but then the race, as we know, anything can happen.
Quite a messy day from our side. At least for me, not very smooth running, and the feeling wasn't very good all day. So I'm not surprised with the lap time is not too bad.
I think it was a positive day. Short runs can be a bit better, but I think the long runs, they look very strong.
The long runs do look strong. It looks like all three of you teams are in it on the long run pace today. What more do you need to find for tomorrow?
Just a bit more on the short run. I think then we can be happy.
If we could, Johnny, let's start with perhaps the surprise of the day. McLaren, Fernando Alonso 5th in P1 and 7th in P2. We understand that he's the only one that's got the engine upgrade. It means a lighter engine block, but certainly they found something just for a couple of tokens spent.
Yeah, it definitely had. Again, they've been talking about how good that chassis is, and I think this is the type of track, because it's all flowy, sort of high speed, low speed, need that traction at the same time. And I think being able to look after the tyre is very, very important as well, because I think the way the new surface seems to be, it used to be a little bit more harder on the back, but if you push and go offline, which used to be very, very small, you get understeer. But Fernando, unfortunately, has got that penalty, obviously 30 places side of the back.
He'll start from the back of the grid, but they've got it in position, don't they, for their marquee race in Suzuka in a week's time.
Yes, I wanted to ask you something. When I spoke to Lewis and Nico, they talked about the final turn here, which has been changed, and the off-camber as you come out and around. Lewis was saying you've got to go into it in a V, and Nico was going the best lines definitely through the middle through here. Different opinions on how to take that corner, and at that point, Nico said overtaking could be great round there now.
Yeah, and I think it's good we've got two sort of ways of going around the corner, which probably adds to everybody else, where before everybody's been doing exactly the same. But overtaking will still be there. You're still going to dive up the inside. But you know now, actually, you can run wide because that's where the grip is. In the past, you couldn't because you'd always know the grip was on the inside. So there was always the undercut that came our way. But again, they learn so quickly on these new type of tracks. It's different. They've adapted, and everything seems to be pretty nice and close.
OK, when we come back, we'll be back down at the Dog and Button, plus we'll hear from Jolyon Palmer, who is fighting for his Formula One life. Welcome back. As I was saying before the break, a really important 6 races for Jolyon Palmer as he tries to remain in a Renault seat for next year. And earlier this week, Johnny went and had a word with him.
Jolyon, 2016 has been a bit of a challenging season so far. Can you be judged on sort of this season because the performances of the car are not particularly good? But can people sort of look at it and sort of say, actually, he's done a competent job because the car is just not competitive?
The main thing for me is to be judged compared to Kevin, who's in the same car. Early on, I would say Melbourne had a very strong weekend, but early on he had the upper hand. I think it's fair to say. But really, I think after the first third of the season, we've been very close all the time.
So where do you see yourself in 2017? Where do you want to be?
Well, I want to be with Renault, and I know that if I'm with Renault, we'll have a more competitive car. And I've learned a lot this year. It's been tough. I think I'm driving overall not bad. A few too many mistakes, but I'm a rookie, and I think that's to be expected over the course of a 21-race year. But next year, I think if I come back, no doubt I will be more complete because I'll learn from the mistakes that I've made.
Jolyon, we're all behind you. I wish you the very best of luck this weekend.
Thank you.
Difficult time for him, isn't it? What did you glean from that interview?
Well, being very honest, I thought that was something that was very rare in a modern-day Formula One driver. But I think he sort of understands that he is a type of driver that gets better and better the more time that he's given. I hope he's given that extra time because I think if he's given it, I think it actually will repay the team. And I think Renault will benefit for having him in because he's an intelligent lad.
But it's not a luxury you can be afforded, is it, in Formula One time, really?
No, not really. But I just want to say it'd be lovely if he got that chance to do it. Maybe he's in a fortunate position at the moment where Sergio was looking like he was talking to him to move in. Now they're in a decision where they've got to say, right, now what is our next move? And I think the way that it sort of works at the moment, the rebuilding that Renault is still in, maybe those two drivers are something that might benefit them in the long run. But he's got to prove a point if he gets that chance. If he doesn't, that will be the last season he has.
All right, well, 5 on the current grid have won around here before, and they're all world champions. But who are the masters of Malaysia?
Wins in Malaysia. Fernando Alonso, to his extreme pleasure, wins the 2007 Malaysian Grand Prix.
Fernando Alonso and Ferrari back on top of the podium.
It is one of the most beautiful. This is one of the most beautiful.
Marcus, go slow, get him out of the way.
Oh, look, it's wheel to wheel again for the two Red Bulls, Sebastian Vettel and Mark Webber. Vettel on the inside. Has he now stolen the lead from his teammate? Can Webber scrap back? Oh, fantastic stuff.
2021, sir. Yeah, Multi 21.
He's back, isn't he? He's got the hunger again. He's got the fever again.
Ferrari's back. Ferrari's back.
Yeah, Malaysia, a place that always produces great racing. Now, another man who is scrapping for his life in Formula One is Danny Kvyat, but following a couple of point-scoring finishes, is he back on song? He had a revealing interview with Martin Brundle at the Skypad last night.
You seem to hit a bit of a low.
I just lost my reference and just didn't drive well.
You said on the radio what's going on. Is that you not understanding yourself, sort of talking to yourself, or was that a question to the team at all?
Yeah, I think so, yeah. I think I don't know what's going on at the moment.
I'm going to stop it there because I don't think you're enjoying watching that. I completely understand it, but we are talking about the highs and lows. When we all saw that, I wanted to come and cuddle you, but I'm too British and you're too tall to reach.
And here, man. I think every human has to have his low moments in a career, in his life, and
I think it's looking back at it, it wasn't as dramatic as it really was. I think it was a difficult few races for me. It just was accumulating, and I think that race it just all came out. But luckily for me, there was a summer break, which I had a very good one, particularly good one this year, and it cleared completely my mind out of all these negative thoughts. And to be honest, I came back a bit different man. Looking back at it, I'm thinking, wow, who is this guy? And now I'm a completely different man. But like I said, you sometimes have to learn the tough way, and I learned many things this year the tough way, and I think now it just starts to get good, really.
Well, Johnny, what do you think he needs to do now? That performance in Singapore not only showed what he is capable of, but also put a marker down in terms of, you know, I'm back, I'm happy again. He was smiling again. He says, there, I don't recognise that guy. What does he need to do now for the rest of the season?
Well, I think he's just got to continually beat a very, very tough teammate, as in Carlos Sainz. I think that's really the best thing he's going to be able to do to give him that chance of staying on. You know, I see Gasly in GP2 was very quick again earlier on. Maybe he's someone who might be replacing him. So he's got to do the job. It's a little bit like you said about Jolyon. You only get these chances, and you've got to be able to sort of grab them by the horns when you get them to give yourself that longevity in Formula 1.
We're off to the pub, which is one of my favourite expressions, just down here inside the Dog and Button. Crofty, what can you tell us? Anyone there yet?
All by myself, don't want to be all by myself. You really shouldn't be drinking alone, but sadly the drivers are still in their driver's briefing, and everything that was planned has been put on hold for a little while. I've got no one to play darts with. You can't really play Jenga by yourself either. And if I eat any more scampi fries, I really am going to look like one. But, lasers, I have your pork scratchings.
Oh, beautiful.
Just what you need.
Beautiful.
Rachel, for you, a little bit of shortbread biscuit. A button biscuit as well. And Johnny, well, you can have a 300 not out beer. Just for you, dear boy.
Those, yes.
Welcome. It looks like the Rovers returning here, but I swear I saw Les Battersby a while ago. Could have been Jonathan Palmer, I'm not sure.
Oh,
it's
for me, this is a health food.
Yeah, for anyone, it's a health food, really.
Yeah.
But Jensen Button, 300 race, the first driver ever to reach 300 by not driving for Ferrari as well. It's a magnificent achievement to still be going and still be on such top form.
I feel bad, Rachel.
What, by not offering Rachel a seat?
There you go.
Gentlemen.
When you're
Are you going to get me a drink as well?
What would you like?
The scrumpy sounded good, or the scrumper. Or
well, there you go.
There's that one.
Your Somerset scrumper.
A Lambrini.
When you look at these pictures on the walls, what's your abiding memory of success or race win or?
I hope there's a picture of Dear John up there somewhere, because I think that isn't right. There you go.
It is only right. It is only right that you should raise a glass to absent friends.
Absolutely.
And it is the saddest thing that John is not here today.
But the lovely thing with everything, he was there when JB won the World Championship, and I think that's brilliant. You know, that man supported him for such a long time, and get that dream finally come true for both of them. Brilliant.
And you know what? I mean, one of the things, and one of the reasons perhaps he suggests for taking a little bit of time off is just so he can, get over everything that has happened, because so much has happened to him, hasn't it, in the last couple of years?
Yeah, it has, and sometimes things have become very, very tough because of this game is so aggressive with physically, mentally against you, and it's something that, yes, it may be a refreshing time for him with the year off he has to then sort of come back. You never know, but of course it's very rare for someone actually to sort of come back, because things change so quickly.
Yeah. We would have asked him. He's in the driver's briefing, so we're expecting there to be a bit of a party down here in a few moments' time.
We're going to start it. We'll start the party.
Stay here, and we can have a game of dominoes or something whilst we wait. So these are the details for the rest of the weekend. We will be back tomorrow from 6:45 with a third practice session. Qualifying gets underway at 9, so you can enjoy that over your Saturday breakfast. Of course, the Ryder Cup is across Sky this weekend. So much for you to look forward to. 8 o'clock, lights out for the race on Sunday. As I said, there are plenty of pork scratchings and other bar snacks to get our greedy mitts on, so we'll do that. I will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye. Jenga.
Enjoy Sky Sports F1 Live on all screens, on the go, and the best bits on demand.